Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this thank you card. The technique that I want to show you is how I did the heat embossing on the thank you after it had been die cut. It's not a technique that I use often, but it's a good one of the things I do like doing. I also at the moment I'm trying to use as many of the new colours as possible so that you can see what they work like. That's Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to be using gorgeous Grape. So I'm going to start off with the card pieces that you're going to be needing. So you need a card base in Whisper White, which measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres. You need 2 pieces of gorgeous Grape, which measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimetres. 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 3 3/4 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is 9.7 by 13.7 centimetres. You also need a piece of one of the designs from the Graceful glass designer Vellum. That's one of the designs. I've got another one over there that I've also used it with, my thought processes were that it's easy to use the pictures in this Vellum group, but it's more of a challenge to find what to do with these. There is also like what I used to call a brick design, but I've used all of mine. I found that one really easy to use. So yeah, this is an idea where you can use these. So this Vellum also measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 3/8, 9.7 by 13.7 centimetres, because it's going to fit on top of that piece of Whisper White just there. You need a piece of Whisper White for the flowers. You need either 5 or 6, depends whether you want to put one on the inside. As it's a thank you card, you may not want to because you want to leave space for writing. I'll show you, I'm not going to do the inside of this, but I will show you the inside of the other one. It's drying at the moment, so I will show you it once I've finished the video. And you also need a piece of gorgeous Grape, which measures 2 3/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches, and you need a scrap of Daffodil Delight, which is a scrap. Sorry, that was 7 by 9 centimetres, 2 3/4 by 3 1/2 inches, but 7 by 9 centimetres. Okay. Did I give you them centimetres on that? I don't know. It was 2 inches by 8 inches, or 5 by 20 centimetres. I think my brain packed up because it was thinking about the Vellum. Right, so what we're going to do first is the thank you. So we need that bit. Now normally you may be in the habit of adhering this to our sticky sheet, so that once it's done you just pull it off and the sticky is still on the back of it, so it sticks down nicely. I'm not doing that because I'm not quite sure what kind of reaction the glue underneath would have when I start using the heat gun on this. I mean, there's only one way to find out, and that is to actually try it, but I haven't. Right, so first things first, I'm going to bring my Big Shot up to do the die cutting. The die that I am using is called Thank You, and it's a Thinlit die. Okay, so that's that one. That's how it die cuts. Yes, I have 2 of them. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Right, Big Shot. Oh, I dropped my Daffodil Delight. Right, I have to say that today is not a particularly good day to choose to do heat embossing, because the weather here is absolutely fabulous. and I've got my ceiling fan on the go, and of course that's making the air around me spin very, very nicely, but to be using embossing powder, not such a good idea. But never mind, we'll cope. If you ever wonder why I turn that over sometimes, it's because there's a slight dip in it, and I prefer the dip to be downwards. It just gets this clinging on a bit better. So I'm using my magnetic plate. Run it through once and again. And what I find is best for my big shot is once I've done it like that, I just move positions and then run it through again. It's not a terribly intricate die. Where's my sponge mat for my die brush? No, that's just fallen off. Let me just put this away because we don't need the big shot again. Right, let's see if we are going to need it. Not by the looks of it, no. This is a nice colour. A friend of mine made a project using this, and it's not really a go-to colour for me, but her project was absolutely stunning. It was beautiful. Which is why I'm using this as my colour for today. Right, so I didn't need my die brush. Now you're going to need some scrap paper, and what you need to do is with your VersaMark ink, you will need your powder. Now for this particular technique, it's very good to have powder like this. You don't have to do it like this, but you can decide for yourself whether you think it's a good enough idea to copy. The trouble is, it does make things take up a lot more room. Now I haven't tidied up, so my tweezers should be here somewhere. But it looks as if I may be working without them. Oh no, here they are. I was going to say, I knew they were here somewhere. Right, okay. So let's hope my embossing powder doesn't go flying. Right, so first of all, with your die, you just need to go over it with your VersaMark. My pad is a new one, so it's really nice and juicy. And because that bounces up and down there, it's getting VersaMark on the back as well. But because mine's in there, I can just give it a shake around, make sure it all gets covered. Now what you don't want to do is to actually touch any of the surface. Okay, so I'm swinging that against the side there just to knock any excess off. And you don't want to put it back down on that one because that's where you've got all your VersaMark. So let that go down without actually touching the front of it. Oh, that's not closing. Right, I'm going to let my heat gun run for a little while to heat it up really nicely, because I'm going to leave that on my desk. I want it to heat up very, very quickly, so to do that it's better to have the hot heat tool before you actually start, so bear with me. There you go, you see how it turns straight away. Okay, so I've managed to do that. Have I done that bit there? Not sure that end bit has been done. Just bear with me for a second. Yep, that's done now. Now this process you can do 2 or 3 times, possibly even 4, as many times as you like, but you should leave it a little while in between to dry properly. But because this is a video, I'm not going to wait. I've already made one of these up here and it's dry, waiting for me to work with it. So if this gets spoiled because I'm working with it too quickly, it's no great shakes. But when you're doing it, I do recommend that you give it a chance to dry, or at least cool down a little bit. But then what you do is exactly the same as you did before. I should have moved that sheet off and gone back to using the one that's already had the VersaMark on it. That's it. But all the time, whatever you're doing, try not to touch the front of it. That's it. And just give it a good shake to make sure it all gets covered. Okay, so I'm going to redo that again. My heat gun is going to be quite hot already, so this one will be quicker. But let me just get my piercing tool to put through that little hole again. I'm not actually holding on to the die cut, it's going straight through that hole. Okay, so just have a look at it, make sure it's all done nicely. So I'll just bring that up close to you so that you can see how nice and shiny that is. I'll close it up properly later. Okay, you can see that. Oops. Beautiful, isn't it? So the one that I did earlier is this one. It's got a few fingerprints on it now. Okay, so I'm using this one. That one's going away to dry. Let's just put it up there. That's it. So what we need to do now is to put our card together. No, let's do the nice bit, making the flowers. Okay, so it's Gorgeous Grape. And the stamp set I'm using is called Pop of Petals. Where's my card gone? The flowers that I used for this one is that one there. the one I'm using now is this one, and the card that I'll show you is that one. Okay, so that's 3 of them, and this is very much like the Pansy Punch that we had. The punch will only work one way, so you will see that I have already labelled mine as top. Once you work out which is which, they're quite easy. Right, so I'm going to do 5 of these. And what I do is I do 1, didn't do that very well, let's try again, but the second one I go up close like that. It just means that I get more out on my one piece of paper, and it's no problem for the punch. So what's that? That's 4, 5, no, 4. That was the one that I did. Oh, it was number 4, so that's number 5. Okay, because I don't want to use that one. So I've moved that over there. Not going to need that again, am I? No. So the punch is called the 4 Petal Punch, and it is on offer as a bundle. If you buy the 2 at the same time, you save 10%. I say the weather is absolutely gorgeous here at the moment, really, really lovely. But I need to keep my thumb covered up, especially using the embossing powder. But the plaster just isn't sticking very well at all. But I will take it off once I've finished the video. Right, so what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to curl the leaves. If you want to have one of these on the inside, you will need to do 6. Pretty flower, this one. I don't know whether you noticed, but in this stamp set, one of the flowers isn't actually a flower, it's a butterfly. Let me show you. Give you something to look at while I'm doing these flowers. That one there. It's clever, isn't it? It's exactly the same, be punched out. You'd need to do the antennae, but that's alright. I thought that was really very clever. I also think these you can fussy cut, and these are what will fit inside the flowers. Like that one would fit inside there. That one is inside the one that I'm working on. Not quite sure about that one. I suppose it might go in there. But I love all the little details that Stampin' Up! Think about when they're putting their stamp sets together. Right, so let me put the card together now. I'll leave those two. So I'll do these two pieces first, and then I'll come back and do the vellum. I just had to send off my second packet of the designer vellum because I've used, in fact I'm out of some of the designs, like the I finished all the bookmarkers. I finished the design that I call the brick design. I think I've used at least one sheet of each, 2 or 3 of most of them. Right, now this is not quite so easy to adhere on there as the other ones were, because I put Tombow on here but just on the little black lines, and there aren't that many black lines here. Obviously with that one it was really nice and easy because I just did them on the little circles just on the outside lines, so that worked really well. Now you're going to get clogged up, and just make sure it's coming out first. I did have a piece of kitchen roll here, but it seems to have disappeared, so I'll use one of my tissues. Earlier when I unclogged this, the lump there was actually hard. It's the first time ever that I've known that to happen. It's normally been like this, little stretchy plug. There we go. I'll keep that in hand in case it comes out too quickly. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting the glue on the reverse side, and I'm doing it where the lines cross, which I know is not going to be enough. So what I'm going to do is, once I've done all of these places, I'm going to work out where I'm going to be adhering flowers, and therefore I know if the glue is showing through the vellum, it's going to be covered by the flowers. So that's all the places. That's going to come over. I'm going to have 2 at the top here. So put those 3. So it means 3 down here. Just do 1 over there. If necessary, I'll put some gems on these. But I do find that Tombow isn't all that visible. Right, there we go. Oops. There we go. So I'm going to pop this on here now. Everything I touch around here, it's got like a little coating of powder on it. Right. This reminds me of the seaside. The waves. Right, there we go, that's that. I'll do that in a little while, the inside in a little while. So what I'm going to do with my flowers, yeah, let's put the yellow inside first. With the Daffodil Delight, you need however many flowers, punched holes. That's just to go on the inside. How many have I got? Oh, that's 5, that's good. So again, Tombow, put Tombow to work. Tweezers, here we go. I also made the yellow bits inside the flowers go shiny as well, so I'm going to show you how I did that. Right, now once that's done, I'm just going to turn it over. And I'm going to put large dimensionals on that. The one that I did with the flower on the inside of the card, I still curled the leaves, although that they will get really flattened. You will still see the dimension on them. Right, now, what I did, not so much on that one, let me show you the other card. This is Merry Merlot, not one of my favourite colours, but I am pleased how the card come out. I'm going off on a tangent now before I forget to tell you this other bit as well. When I cut this design, it finished up like this at the bottom. It's not the same top and bottom, but I liked how that finished so exactly. That was by luck, it wasn't judgment, that I thought I'd leave it with me, leave it like that. But if you wanted to have the same design at the top, at the bottom, before you cut it, oh, here's a plain bit, just place it on there and then decide where that needs to be, so your design is top and bottom the same, and then just mark one, and then you just take the other one and mark it however long you need it. Okay, so that's easy enough to do. I was just lucky with mine. And that's the one that I put the flower on the inside, and I've curled that up as well, so you can still see the dimension there. I mean, it's obviously not as big as what's on the front, and if I post this it will get even flatter, but it will never be totally flat again. So what I was going to say about this was, with the flowers, they're all going in the same direction. I found that that was the easiest way to get them, what shall I say, fitting together nicely. Let's have a look. No, it's gone too high. Now these are quite easy to pull off at the vellum, but just make sure you hold the vellum down as you're doing it. So how far down? So I've got to come, got to leave about ½ an inch down there, but I don't mind my petal coming over the edge here, so say it's about ½ an inch there. That's better, so that fits in as well. Okay, it's going off slightly. I put all my flowers on first, don't I? Now this one I leave about an inch from the edge there. I'm going to put that one there. And that one there, so that one should finish up. Stop jumping. Right, so that will go there. Again, the petal will come off, but I just don't want it coming off too much. I haven't bothered making sure that all the same petals are pointing upwards. As I said about the punch, the petals are different. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to do my thank you, get some glue on the back of that. I'm going to use my silicone mat. You will need to leave this to dry for that to become quite solid. It's a bit like nail varnish, I suppose. If you touch your nail varnish too soon, then that will start denting. So I go up on the big lines first. A bit there. I think I'm going to dab this onto some paper. This is coming out quite quickly. I really don't want it oozing all over the front of my card. I love the adhesive remover, but there are times when I don't think it's a good idea to use it. Like, I'm not sure how the vellum would take it. I'm really liking this design of the vellum. Right, so I'm just looking to make sure that I can still see all the thank you, and I can see that the TH is going to go underneath there. Okay, so that's that. Let me just pop the two bits on the inside. As I say, I'm not putting any flowers on the inside. I suppose if I wanted to send it as a thank you card without saying too much in there, I could always put a flower in there when I'm about to use it. That's the beauty of making your own cards. Make your adjustments as you go along. Oops. Right, there's that. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I get the shiny bits on here, and I use our fine tip glue pen. In fact, I'm going to bring that scrap of paper back again. I haven't found a way how to get rid of bubbles if I get bubbles in there. So I just find it easier to let some glue come first. So if there's any air bubbles, hopefully they'll come out first of all. So I just squeeze some to make it into a little mound, not enough to make it come rolling off. This has got some tiny little air bubbles in it, but that won't be a problem. It's when you've got the big ones that it spoils the look. And again, this is something else you will need to leave to dry. And preferably flat as well, depending on how thick you've put the glue on there. I certainly keep mine flat. If you don't like the idea of the shiny bits on here, you might prefer to put some I always call them diamonds, rhinestones. We've got some nice little gold pearls as well at the moment, but I think they may be a bit small for this. Or the faceted gold ones, that would be nice. They would be lovely. Right, so I think that's about it. That's today's card. I really like the wavy line there. I really like that that design as well. But this one I think's just a little bit heavy. I don't think it's just because it's a dark colour. I think this is a bit too busy. Be interested to hear what you think. This, the C, what I call the C, that one is definitely my favourite, and I quite like that too. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's project, and I hope you give it a try. If you have any questions, please leave them in the box below the video. I'm always very happy to help you. If you would like to purchase any of the products that I featured here, they'll all be listed in the box below, together with the measurements of everything that I've used. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me a thumbs up. And just to remind you, if you do order anything through my online shop, as I say, there'll be a link in the box below. Please remember to use the July 2018 HOSTESS code so that you'll share in free products at the end of the month. Also during July 2018, for any customer who places an order of £70 or more in my online shop, I will be sending them one of these, which is a cardstock colour sample pack, and there's one of every colour in here. We got them when we went to convention, and I've made loads so that I can give them to my customers because they're very useful. Not colour coaches, but it is a sample of every colour so that you know exactly what colours they are. So if you want one of those, shop with me, order of £80, £70 or more. And also we are doing a special promotion on recruiting. If you join my team during July 2018, you can, as well as the £130 worth of products that you can choose for your starter fee, you also choose one set of the Colour Family's ink pads, which is 10 ink pads, and that's on top of the £130, so you get almost £200 worth of free goodies, all for £99. And I'd love to have you join my team. Oh, and also another promotion Stampin' Up are doing is if you buy 3 packs of Designer Series paper, there is a list of which ones, you can choose a 4th one free, which is jolly good value. So many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.